What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Everything Mets. Josh here. And the 2021 Mets baseball season is back tonight as they open up against the Nats. And in this video, we're just going to do a little weekend series preview. Just go over some things, some players to watch, some bats to watch, some pitchers to watch, all those types of things. We're just going to go over some of those things quick. But going on the mound for the Mets tonight, obviously, as every Mets fan probably knows and every baseball fan knows, the best pitcher in baseball, Jacob deGrom, will take the mound and take the ball for the Mets. And on the mound tonight for the Nats will be Max Scherzer. This will also be Francisco Lindor's first game as a Met in the regular season action, and as after he just signed his 10-year extension with the Metis. So it's nice to have him secured and locked up for long term, and nice to know that we have a shortstop for a long term. But another little side note for the game tonight and all the games for this weekend, at least, as far as I know, that the Nats will be letting in 5,000 fans. So it'll be nice just to have fans back for the first time since 2019, actually, in regular season action. For the Mets, this is the best and deepest lineup that they've had in years, in my opinion, and every Mets fan's opinion. It's kind of obvious. It's not even an opinion. It's fact. And we're going to finally see tonight for real how Dom does over in left field and how JD does over at third. And really Jeff does at second, even though I'm pretty sure he'll do fine there at second. I'm pretty comfortable with him there, and I think most fans are. But JD over at third and Dom in left, that's definitely two positions where it still makes me nervous and still where I think we can upgrade. But obviously we always have Pilar off the bench if he starts to struggle or if any defensive struggles pop up. So there's that, too. As I said before, Lindor will be making his first appearance out there for the Mets at short, expected at least, and I'm not going to jinx anything. I'm 99% sure he will be tonight. And James McCann behind the plate, I'm assuming he'll be behind the plate for the Mets, so he'll be making his debut for the Mets, which will be nice to see that we got a nice catcher back there, and it's just nice to have that everyday catcher if he can stay healthy for the next few years locked up. And another note here on deGrom, too, I'm thinking about it and looking at it here. He becomes the fourth pitcher in Mets franchise history to start 3 consecutive opening days for the Mets. Only Tom Seaver and Dwight Gooden posted longer streaks, and this would have marked 4 in a row for deGrom had a minor injury not prevented him from pitching the Mets' opener in 2018. And another little note here on deGrom. 2 years ago on opening day in Washington, he struck out 10 batters en route to a win over Scherzer and the Nats. And that was over 2 years ago in 19. And coming into the season, the Mets' hot bats off the spring were Pete Alonso and Francisco Lindor. They both enjoyed pretty hot camps for the Mets. And they combined for 7 home runs over their first 28 games of the spring. And the power was pretty welcome for Alonso, who didn't have a single homer last spring in advance of a disappointing season last year. So it's just good to see that pop in Petey's bat, and really we hope we can get that all season long, and really you can carry it over right into tonight and start right off tonight. Touching on the Nationals a little bit and what they did in the offseason, what they added. And what they added was power to protect Soto in the batting lineup with the acquisitions of Josh Bell and Kyle Schwarber, as they saw a preview of their potential in spring training with their little bit of pop on their bats. So you can expect those two to probably bat 3 and 4th if you got to guess. That's what I'm guessing, and that's probably the projected lineup that they would go with. You probably got Turner batting leadoff there, and then Soto there second, obviously. And the Nationals were testing out Robles in the leadoff spot there instead of Turner. And even if you do that, you can swap Robles and Turner and move Robles up to that 1 spot and that leadoff spot and move Turner down to 8 or vice versa. It doesn't really matter. So there's always that for the Nats. They have that to their lineup. So really, they got 2 leadoff hitters there in a way. As I was talking about earlier, also Max Scherzer will be taking the mound for the Nats on opening day here, his 6th time in 7 seasons, and he's pretty enthusiastic about it. He compared it to Christmas. So there's that little side note for you if you needed to know that. He's coming off a pretty good season as always. He's just like deGrom. He's always dominating. There's never a time that Scherzer does not. He's always on. He's just got something off about him, and every baseball fan obviously knows that, so I don't even got to go into that any deeper. And hey, and sometimes you want that out of your players. I don't know. You never know. The Nats also stacked their bullpen this offseason, and they're bringing 8 relievers on the opening day roster. And they're also awaiting the return of Will Harris, who's coming off of an injury. He hasn't pitched since March 13th when he experienced numbness in his right fingers, and he was originally diagnosed with a blood clot in his right arm by a doctor down in Florida. Then he traveled to St. Louis to get a second opinion. I know this is random side news, but this is kind of interesting. And a venogram, I have no idea what that is. If anyone knows what that is, drop it down in the comments, but I don't know. He ruled out the presence of a blood clot or anything like that, so he's scheduled to meet with another doctor, lead physician for the Nats, and he'll just begin the season on the injured list, so hopefully he can get healthy and everything. You don't want nothing bad happening there. So the Nats are waiting on the return of him for the season. And this past winter, the Nats got the top reliever in the free agency class in Brad Hand, and he led the majors in saves last season, so he's expected to be their closer, most likely. Well, it's probably most definitely. So the Nats are loaded out of the pen this year. And just another little note on the Nats. Ryan Zimmerman re-signed with the Nats for his 16th season after he elected not to play last year. And he said he's feeling great coming into this new season. Hopefully he's not feeling too great because you don't want him to do too good against us. I don't care how he does the rest of the season. But good for him. They're still 36 he is now, and he's still going. Seems like he's been around forever. Seth Lugo and Carlos Carrasco are the two main injuries to watch right now for the Mets, as they're probably going to miss, at least Carrasco will miss roughly the first month of the season due to his right hamstring tear. And I'm still just really unsure on how that whole thing happened. He was ready, he came late. I don't know. It's just, that whole thing's confusing. To me, it just all didn't seem ready for camp, and it just, hopefully he can be back and come back healthy. Just not a good start here for Carrasco here in a Mets uniform. That's all I got to say before he plays his first game even. But the Mets pitching schedule for the weekend looks like this. DeGrom will go tonight. Marcus Stroman is scheduled to take the ball in the second game of the series on Saturday. And then the third and final game of the series, David Peterson is scheduled to take the ball at 1:05 Eastern. And that's the Sunday afternoon game there in the third and final game of the weekend opening set there down in Nationals Park. And tonight's game is on ESPN, so no Gary, Steve, Keith, and Ron, so broadcast is going to suck for tonight. We get them guys back on Saturday, start the real season then. But the game obviously will be on radio, so you can have Howie and Ed, so there's that. So you don't have to listen to ESPN's shitty announcers. Excuse my language, it's just the truth. But as every baseball fan knows, they just suck at broadcasting baseball because they're more worried about interviews half the time and not actually broadcasting the baseball game or whatever it may be. But alright, that's going to do it for me. And Mets baseball's back tonight. First pitch, 7:09 p.m. Baseball's back today at 1. So do what you can, turn it on, get to watching. So Josh out, and let's go Mets.